This conference had way too many mimosas at the airport bar, and it kind of rocks. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day off the riff. Let's break down every game in this league. In the middle segment, the Big 12 needs more national attention, namely BYU, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, Colorado. Here's why we're not getting it and why ESPN wants to leave us out of the playoff now. That was mentioned. And we'll give a complete recap for those who missed Friday's game of BYU and Oklahoma State's wild finish. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. All of yesterday was like my junior year prom, a complete train wreck. And the very end of the night, the very last thing I saw was the worst thing of the day. I will begin there for many of you who were asleep for TCU and Utah. 13-7, final score. 13-7. And Brock Osweiler, who was calling this game, goes, man, hard fought, well done game from Josh Hoover. Was it? 22 for 41 for Josh Hoover. The TCU offense couldn't really do anything, but luckily for them, luckily for Kendall Briles, neither could Utah. If Isaac Wilson's last name was not Wilson, he wouldn't be playing for the Utes. There has to be another option on this roster. 7 points is what Utah put up against TCU, the same school that allowed 66 to SMU. Andy Ludwig, come host the podcast with me. When you get fired, call me. We'll do Locked On Big 12 together. You shouldn't be the offensive coordinator at Utah any longer. And this just sucked all the way around. Utah's 4-3, 1-3 in conference play now. Oh, we're going to dominate the Big 12. Put up 7 points against TCU. They lost to Houston. BYU, Oklahoma State. I'm going through all the games. I'm going to cover this game very in depth at the end of the show, so I'm not going to give you too much. But this is the one time Jay Hill seemed like he wasn't he wasn't immortal. Where he's like, okay, yeah, Jay Hill's human. I get it. BYU wins. It's a miracle. In similar fashion, Iowa State. Pick me here in the front. I would like my wish, my make-a-wish for someone who is completely healthy. Though I did go to the cardiologist for a couple weeks, like a year and a half ago. I want my wish to be, I get to go to Iowa State in the Ames and be the defensive coordinator's assistant for like a week as they prepare for UCF. And I say, hey, could we not prepare at all for the pass? Because they're not going to do it. UCF is not going to throw the ball, whether it's KJ Jefferson or the Brown kid. They're only going to run it. And that's exactly what happened. 39 attempts. Listen, lend me your ears. 39 attempts, 354 yards on the ground for the Knights. That's 9.1 yards per carry. They were up 28-14 at one point, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is it. We're really toast, aren't we? We're going to lose another undefeated team. But no, Gus Malzahn will. Gus Malzahn, he promised you that. He promised you. UCF falls to 3-4 as Iowa State, Rocco Beck, leads a wild drive a la BYU on Friday and gets it done in the end. Gutsy for Beck, who's a true sophomore, and went and found a dang way at the end of this game. Then, after that, an interception to seal it because we knew that UCF couldn't throw the ball downfield. But Beck being able to go to Jaden Higgins, relying on Jalen Knoll, that's it. That's the formula. And then bam, gets you to the one, run it in, Rocco Beck. Run it in for the 2-point conversion too. Iowa State stays undefeated. They're a top 10 team in our conference. That is #good. Elsewhere around the league, I love Cincinnati. Corey Kiner, very good. Brennan Sorsby, very good. Cam Scatterbu can't do it all by himself, and he's still very good. But the defense, Corleone, the Godfather. I wrote off both of these schools preseason. They're now both 5-2. I think they're very evenly matched. If Sam Levitt plays, this game is probably a final score of 24-21. I do believe Cincinnati still wins. But what a great football game in the Big 12 between two evenly matched teams. Scott Satterfield, you're rehired. I like you now. I'm sorry. I'll eat crow. Foot and mouth. Blonde hair podcast guy didn't know about college football coach. Shocking, I know. The main headline on Monday morning. Give it to you. Nice. Very good. Arizona State, I think you're fine. 2-2 in Big 12 play. You're still a bowl team at 5-2. You can go 8-4. West Virginia, Kansas State. The fire Neil Brown thing, they're not going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. The boosters, somebody's got Ren Baker. Somebody is completely controlling the athletic department that has to have the deepest pockets ever. Like, is Ren Baker's brain trust a billionaire? Is Elon Musk being like, don't do it. Don't fire him. It's a bad Elon Musk impression. Because 45-18, you got embarrassed. This is not what West Virginia football is. It's not the heart of West Virginia football. 3-4, 2-2 in Big 12 play. That's not good. Kansas State 6-1, 3-1. And Avery Johnson can throw the football. One of my favorite tweets from the weekend was, Happy learned how to putt. That's the equivalent. That's what this is. Avery Johnson learning how to throw the football is Happy Gilmore learning how to putt. That comes from Emaw Caleb, who's joined the show before, actually. Elsewhere, after Kansas State proved it was the most dominant team in the Big 12, they look better than Iowa State. They look better than BYU, though all those teams won. Kansas over Houston. This is the Kansas we were advertised. Quentin Skinner, Devin Neal, Jalen Daniels. This is what we were told we were going to get when it came to the Kansas Jayhawks. Problem, they were playing Houston, who might be the least talented team in the Big 12 on paper, and really isn't that talented when you look at them in person. You won. You're 2-5. Does this turn your season around? I don't know. Like, you beat William and Mary, and William couldn't make it to the game. Does that make you good? I don't think so. But at least you got to win. You're 2-5. Win's a win. Colorado, scary. Two teams that I kept thinking about yesterday. That I was just like, man, I don't know if we're going to give them enough credit, but oof, they're sneaky good, like scary good. And we're not going to talk about them at the top of the league. I will, because I see it. Colorado and Cincinnati. I watched Colorado against Arizona, 34-7 win, and thought, that defense is insane. They keep sacking Noah Fafita, who hasn't been sacked very much this season. And obviously, Shedeur Sanders is still legit. And as I'm looking pregame from Jimmy Horn Jr. to Travis Hunter, both of those guys are not 100%. Both of those guys are not going to go out there and give you their top performances because they're super banged up after last week. This was just a big game they had to play in on the road. And big game turned into a 34-7 blowout. Arizona's 3-4. And through 7 games, Arizona fans want Brent Brennan fired. That's college football, baby. Through 7 games. He was given some pretty solid keys. They're like, hey, here's a Ferrari. It's not the newest Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari, no doubt. You know, it lost a headlight. A couple of these transfers left, but go win. And he's like, I'm not. I'm allergic. Baylor over Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 3-1 in Big 12 play after this game. Baylor's 1-3. As a Baylor alumni, take that. You suck. As a Big 12 guy who's a general fan of the conference, Texas Tech, what are you doing? You are in line to go win vie for a Big 12 championship, to still be in that conversation. I said, forget the early weeks, and you didn't. Your defense fell apart. Baron Morton, I don't know, man. I get confused by Baron Morton. Taj Brooks is always good. I get confused by Baron Morton because one pass, you're like, Baron Morton. Yeah, especially when it doesn't matter, when the game's a blowout or there aren't really stakes. Usually it's when you're like, okay, Baron's a little loose. Then there are moments, so many moments, where he's like, oh, spike it in the ground. Oh, look, he's open. I'm going to overthrow him by 10 yards. How fun would that be? 59 points to the Baylor Bears. 35 for Texas Tech. Dave Aranda said postgame, we got to tighten that up. Don't want to give them garbage time points. Got to have some respect of ourselves. Shut the door completely. 59 points was stupid. Texas Tech, you aren't going to the Big 12 championship. You're 3-1. I mean, you could turn it around, but that's kind of like the backbreaking. Okay, you lost to a bad team. You lost to 3-4, 1-3. You lost to a bad team. Can Baylor be good in 5 weeks? Sure. Are they bad right now? Yes, the record's telling me that. It says it right here. In the same way, Arizona's not very good at football. Law of averages. Some are good, some are bad. Baylor's 3-4, 1-3. In my opinion, I'm reading you the numbers. They're tied for second last. No. I tinker. They're tied for last in the Big 12. Last. Nope, second last. Oklahoma State's last. That's crazy, by the way. Before we go into how Oklahoma State and Iowa State are being completely disrespected, as the rest of the league, and ESPN said that there's a possibility they would leave us all out of the college football playoff, I'm going to ask you to bear with me here. This was the worst thing I saw yesterday. I don't usually do this, but I want to now. You're going to be tempted to just completely turn this off. And I get it. I understand why, but I'm going to read this all the way through. This is the drive chart you missed if you fell asleep. Like, I'm a maniac. It's 2:15 as I'm recording. I'm a maniac. I stay up and record these shows. This is the drive chart from TCU. Drive chart. That's what it was. Freudian slip there. Appropriate. This is the drive chart. TCU won 13-7 over Utah. First drive of the game. Just bear with me. Please just buckle up and bear with me for like 30 seconds. First through last drive. Fumble, punt, missed field goal. Punt, 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 field goal. Punt, touchdown. Punt, 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 punt. End of half. Otherwise, it would have been a punt. Punt. That's like 7 in a row. Field goal, punt, punt, touchdown. Punt, 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 punt. Turnover on downs. Punt. Turnover on downs. End of game. Oh, God. I don't know how you do that. I really, really don't have any idea how you can conjure up that terrible of a football game where both teams truly played evenly bad. And it was brutal to watch for any and all that were involved in this game. 8 punts from TCU for 339 yards. 10 punts for Utah for 422 yards. And with that, let's go into the top 10 teams in the country that exist in this conference on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the reason that when you go to the Locked On Big 12 Twitter account and there's a good tweet, it was Zach. It's also the reason this week Zach tweeted, like, I can't believe anyone picked Kansas as the front runner in the Big 12 preseason. As I just slowly raised my hand, it was me. I did that. He has been a rock star. He's helped grow the entire social media brand of Locked On Big 12, and he applied through LinkedIn. 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other job sites, and 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours, just like Zach. Hire professionals like a professional. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Keep in mind that terms and conditions do apply. Go there today. Find your Zach. Find the perfect hire for your small business with LinkedIn. BYU, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Colorado, Kansas State. There's a slew of Big 12 teams that are being disrespected by the AP poll and being disrespected nationally overall. And I want to tell you why that matters first. I'm going to talk about the Alabamas of the world, about the Notre Dames of the world, about these schools that have lost games and are still ranked above Big 12 teams. And I won't make a case that every school that's undefeated should be above a one-loss. Like, BYU shouldn't be above Texas. I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. But there is a reason you should care. I'm a BYU fan, and if we're 18 or 14 or 5th, I don't care. None of that matters. We're going to the playoff. I'm an Iowa State fan. If we're 5th in the nation or 20th, we're still going to the playoff. Doesn't matter. It should matter to you, and here is why. I'm watching ESPN during Saturday's slate, Utah and TCU, and the announcers are talking about how a Big 12 team isn't a lock for the college football playoff. It's actually the top 4 highest ranked conference champions. So if Army or Navy or SMU, and I'm sitting here thinking, this is a Big 12 game we're watching. We are in 8 weeks. We're 8 weeks into college football. And now this media juggernaut, ESPN, when the Big 12 is outperforming on the football field a lot of these hapless SEC and Big 10 teams that were supposed to be dominant. Hello, USC. Hello, Michigan. Hello, Alabama. In the middle of that happening, now, what if we slip in this narrative that the Big 12 doesn't have to make the college football playoff with an automatic bid? We could leave them out altogether. That is why these rankings matter. And more than that, there's a machine, okay? The general college football viewer, when they hear 7-0 BYU is playing 7-0 Iowa State, there are determinative factors on whether or not they watch. And a lot of times, it's that tiny number next to your name that's going to carry your team, carry that brand, carry the conference ultimately. Example, 7-0 BYU, undefeated BYU plays undefeated Iowa State. One of them is ranked 21st in the country. One of them is ranked 18th. No one, by and large, is diving into that game. In the same way that 18th ranked Missouri plays 21 ranked Texas A&M by and large, you're going, okay, cool. Bottom end, top 25 game, noon matchup. I'll toss it on the TV for a little bit. I'm more worried about something different. Oh, actually, I'm more worried about number 7, Iowa State, playing number 9, BYU. Both teams are undefeated. A top 10 matchup that has college game day at it because those two schools are so high in the rankings and have carried so much. Oh, I'm even more worried. Like Cincinnati, they're good, right? Yeah, they're not ranked, though. What's this game doing on the TV? Cincinnati's not even ranked. I know you aren't like that. I'm not like that. You put BYU wherever you want them, I'm still going to watch BYU. Same for Utah. Same for Iowa State. Same for Kansas State. Same for West Virginia. I don't care. I'm a maniac. I love college football. The average viewer who matters more to the TV companies than you and I, they don't care about the intense fans. They care about the casual fans. How do we get more people to pop this on their TV so that when Hyundai calls and they want a commercial, we can say, hey, here's how many viewers we have during this slot in college football. That's what they want. That's what they want to beef up these SEC teams as far as they can get the Big Ten teams, as far as they can get them. So we're going to drive ratings up because the casual viewers will start to watch. Buddy, I can almost guarantee you, if you slap that number 5 ranking next to Iowa State and a number 7 ranking next to BYU, and they played tomorrow, your viewership of an, I don't know, LSU versus Indiana, LSU versus Notre Dame game, it's going to kind of be on par, buddy. That little number is such a driving, determining factor. And so many fans of these teams that are highly ranked in the AP poll are already like kind of giving up on the coach, giving up on the season. You look at the LSU message boards. Oh, well, we lost to USC. So, we can still make the playoff, but we're fraudulent. Look at Alabama. Alabama's already lost to. Oh, we're going to miss the college football playoff. These guys are diving out. And ESPN now wants to paint a new narrative that the Big 12 doesn't have to have a spot in the college football playoff. Is that what you got from? Can I interject into your little ESPN conversation? May I introduce you to BYU, who's undefeated? May I introduce you to Iowa State, who's undefeated? Then would you like to shake the hand of Ohio State, who's not? Georgia, who's not? Alabama, who's got 2 losses? LSU, who lost to a putrid USC team. Finally, we're starting to see like Michigan fall out of place. But why is Notre Dame ranked above BYU? Oh, let me see. Look, I got my notes here. Notre Dame's schedule. Okay, it shows that Notre Dame lost on the road to Ohio State. So that's a quality loss, I guess. Yeah, they could be above BYU. Oh, nope. Click, refresh. That's right. They lost in Northern Illinois. And I'm telling you, that number matters. Yeah, well, Notre Dame's a better team. Are they? They played a better, their strength of schedule to FPI, to their averages. No, man. BYU's the number 2 team in America based on strength of record. Number 2 in America. Far ahead of Miami, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M. So, yeah, you go play that, hey, we got a couple. We're really gonna make that LSU and A&M game big. We're gonna make it pop. We're gonna put those little numbers next to them and move them up. You could do the same thing with the schools that actually deserve it, and we've built it. They're gonna come. Let it happen. Somebody clip that. The Big 12 is not getting any respect from the AP poll. I mentioned that last week. I'm hopeful that it changes this week, but I want you to know the consequences of that and that it's only going to get worse if we're talking about an Alabama squad that you go, yeah, this is going to be the argument. This will be the argument. The fact that I'm already hearing on ESPN, be it Alabama fans that go, yeah, Bama's lost 2 games, but I know they're better than BYU. I know they are. You know the difference? Like I know they're better than BYU because they almost lost to Oklahoma State and SMU, and Iowa State almost lost to UCF. They're fraudulent. You know what we'd be saying if Bama had beaten Vanderbilt? Yeah. Would you still be playing the they almost lost card? You did lose. I would rather win and have some fan be like, oh, well, they almost lost, than do what you did, Alabama, then do what you did, Tennessee, then do what you did, Notre Dame, Illinois, Oklahoma, and actually lose. Boise State. That was the argument those guys are making on the TV. Army, Navy, Boise State. Huh. Okay. Start slipping that narrative in and see where it gets you. If that's where the machine wants to go, that's where the machine will go. We've learned that. We learn it every year, and 12 teams was supposed to fix it, and now there are 2 teams that rightfully deserve a spot in the college football playoff based on where they sit in the rankings and their resume in BYU and Iowa State. There are teams like Colorado, Cincinnati, Kansas State that deserve more respect. That in this conference deserve more, and maybe you think your team, who's competitive in Big 12 play, is also in that category, and they might be. But those are the ones, when we talk strength of record, that truly should be in the conversation for the top 25, the top 20, the top 10. And they're not. And that sucks. Fun. Your fun little money machine, huh? Everybody loves money. Oklahoma got waxed. Texas got waxed. Well, at least you got paid, huh? That was fun for the fans. They loved that. They had a great time. I think Iowa State fans, BYU fans, having a lot more fun. Oh, yeah, well, they don't have as much money. You didn't get any of the money that Texas got and then Oklahoma got. It didn't go to you. It went so that you could watch them lose. And I bet your beer prices went up too. Coming up, let's recap that BYU game. Just a quick interjection, because these games go so late now on a Saturday. If we have a Friday game and I recap that game, I love to throw it into the Saturday show to make sure you get that piece of content that recaps Friday, people that were doing high school football Friday. Also, it's like 3 a.m. here. So having that added segment is huge for me, because staying up till 3 a.m. every Saturday is something I would normally do, but I have to do it this time without near as many beers as would typically be consumed, because I'm working at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. This has been the middle segment. Coming up, BYU. What was that? On Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. There's a pretty lady that I know. And she was like, hey, man, do you want to go see Taylor Swift? I was like, I don't think so. But I'll help you find cheap tickets to do it on Game Time. Curated deals make it easier to find the best prices on great seats. Super deals, seat views before you buy, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time picks curation makes it easy to save money on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. And if you can find somebody who is giving it to you cheaper, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is Game Time. What on earth was that? Oklahoma State wins a football game in Provo, Utah to get its first Big 12 victory. And then BYU wins a football game in Provo, Utah to stay undefeated in conference play. We're going to break that down as much as there is to break. What? BYU didn't play good football. What? Oklahoma State didn't have an existing quarterback on the roster who has an arm, like a feasible arm. Garrett Rangel did fine, but it was the legs. That's after they put him in for the legs. Alan Bowman is so bad at throwing the ball, they limited him to screen passes and catching the ball himself. I'm going to break that down, as well as give you all of my picks for the Saturday slate in this conference. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. For the first time this season, this league, man. This league, best finish we've had so far, no doubt. There is a 99% chance that Oklahoma State wins this game with a minute to go when they score a touchdown on a pass from Alan Bowman, who had been like double benched. Like, we benched you. Garrett Rangel is the starting quarterback. Then there's an injured guy behind him. Then there's Alan Bowman. And then I'll be darned if Garrett Rangel doesn't go down and they say, shoot, we're going to have to go to Alan Bowman. And we're just going to let him throw all the screen passes in the world. And we might even throw the ball to Alan Bowman, who's going to go score a touchdown. Ballsy from that kid. 6-yard pass from him to Brennan Presley with 1:13 to go. It's over. I keep telling you, the one thing that BYU has not proven this year is that down in a football game, they can march the ball and come back. Down 10, down 14, down 5 with a minute to go. I haven't seen BYU's offense generate like that. And then the man that drew up the worst trick play in human history in the worst scenario, the man who I still believe that Jake Retzlaff isn't always put in the best spots by his own offensive coordinator, Aaron Roderick. I'm still not an A-Rod guy. But man, that last minute of football, not even the last minute, the last 30 seconds, the first 4-ish plays of that stretch were infuriating. If you're an Oklahoma State fan, you'll get at the defense going, that's the B team defense out there. Got the Robertson kid playing safety. Cool. There's a few of these guys who I've heard their name before in spring practice. Why are they on the field? Oh, because everyone's hurt. All of our best players are hurt. Oh, BYU could take advantage of that. Well, they did a little bit, but the defense of BYU is helping bail out the offense in the first half. And then Oklahoma State feels like it's in a position to go win the football game with Garrett Rangel and Ollie Gordon. And then what it took for BYU to win this. Again, it's tough to say, oh, BYU deserved to win. What it took is Ollie Gordon goes down. Garrett Rangel goes down. We're limited to just Alan Bowman and Brennan Presley. And that honestly means we're just limited to Brennan Presley, however we can get him the football. And Oklahoma State goes out and wins the football game. If only there wasn't a minute and 13 to go. And then defensively, I used the word ballsy earlier for Alan Bowman. So for Jake Retzlaff, how do we double it? Cojones. I mean, dude, just like boom, boom, boom. Oh, 30 seconds to go. I've looked a little rattled to start this 1 minute and 13 second drill. Don't mind if I take off and blow you all the way with my legs. Get to the line, boys. We're about to spike this thing. Mind if I toss a 35-yard touchdown to Darius Lassiter, who we thought just a couple of minutes ago didn't exist in the context of football anymore? Oh, I thought that guy was hurt. Oh, cool. 8 plays. 75 yards. 8 plays. That's how clunky this thing was at the beginning. In a minute and 2 seconds. Jay Hill, buddy, I've been a big fan. I keep telling people. I told them after the Aaron Roderick trick play that was an interception. I was like, guys, somebody give Jay Hill a raise and put Aaron Roderick in a closet for timeout for a little bit. And then the interception where Jay Hill goes and bails him out. But I can't. I got to give some credit to A-Rod for that last drive. Like, who's coaching Jake Retzlaff? A-Rod's in that room. Like, that dude who went and won it. His offensive coordinator's right there with him. And man, more than anything I could give it to A-Rod in this game, I have to go to Jay Hill and say, Jay, I could have told you. Oklahoma State doesn't have a quarterback with a working arm, with like an existing cannon to be able to put the football in the air. What if we just guard the run? Oklahoma State has its best offensive output on the ground in a game in the first half alone. And finishes the ball game rushing for 269 yards. Holds the ball for 32 minutes of this game. Goes 9 for 13 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down. That's 11 for 15 on third and fourth down. 421 yards. Jay, guard the run. Tell your defensive ends to stay home. I don't know if we forget? They changed the rule. The quarterback can run now. Someone's going to have to guard that. Ollie Gordon's good at football. Someone's going to have to guard that. And BYU didn't in the first half. And in the second half, Oklahoma State could kind of impose its will. That's why I kept thinking, oh, shoot, Oklahoma State's going to win this game because all they need to do is dink and dunk, screen pass, run the ball, screen pass, option. That was it. And they did. They went and they won it until Jake Retzlaff. But you know what could have happened here? Can I tell you something? You know what could have happened? Jake Retzlaff throws that ball at the 5-yard line. We get it down to Darius Lassiter. And Darius Lassiter is tackled there by the safety kid, the Robertson kid. Instead, Lassiter says, whoop. Oh, just kidding. Thought you were going to tackle me there, huh? And you didn't. Steps into the end zone. Could have been tackled at the 5. We call timeout, with 10 seconds to go. And BYU still doesn't score. Like, there's a legitimate way. But this was a combined effort from Retzlaff to Lassiter of, hey, we're just going to go win this football game. Our defense didn't guard the run very well. Oklahoma State did plenty to win with a skeleton crew out there. That's barely like a representation of what Oklahoma State football is. They had to wheel Alan Bowman's 80-year-old body back out. They Jimmy Cartered back out on the field. All right, bud, go out there. We're going to let you throw a couple screen passes, okay? Just find that Brendan Presley guy. But it was just stunning that in the end, BYU's offense, the implications of this, man, you stay undefeated. And now we still have 2 college football playoff teams. That rocks. If you're Oklahoma State, you're 3-4. And everybody's pointing at Mike Gundy going, Mike? Oh, bud, that was a colossal failure. You pulled the old Dave Aranda, the cigar, the victory cigar. We've had 2 effective Hail Marys in this conference. Gosh, I love Big 12 football. If you're a BYU fan, congratulations, man. A win's a win. We're going to nitpick this throughout the week for sure. For Oklahoma State, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Go to church on Sunday morning, take a shower, ask for forgiveness. I don't know what you did. Ask for forgiveness, though, for something and hope that it works. For BYU, maybe God's just that much on your side. I can't even imagine what the atmosphere in LES was like, too. Oh, my gosh. Can't even imagine it. Abrupt stop there. BYU. That was crazy, dog. Still crazy. You and Iowa State both. Coming up tomorrow, power rankings. What? I'm also going to get more into this. Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 was so stupid. And why is the college football playoff committee's little machine, ESPN, saying we shouldn't be there? This has been, and always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.